Welcome to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show, and welcome to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. Today's show is about expanding your comfort zones, and the first time I did this show was live on a brief 6 months where I did a live show called The Turning Point. And I may bring The Turning Point back at some point in time, but the shows that I did there, I have republished in different places. The first one was called The Turning Point here on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, and it was episode 21. I also put it on the Fit to Love podcast, and there's going to be a brief intro from that just to explain a little bit more for those of you that don't know about any of this, just to catch you up. It's very brief, and then we'll get right into the live show. I also wanted to thank you again for those of you that put a rating and review of the show up on iTunes. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate your attention and interest in this topic, and I would love to connect with you in some way, somehow. Come on over to jjflazanes.com. I've got all the social media tabs there. Send me an email, reach out, be a part of the tribe, and let's connect. I want to be doing shows that you're interested in, and I want to be able to enhance your life in the ways you're looking for. And hopefully these shows are doing it, but I'm open to new content and to more. So please connect with me and enjoy today's show. Today's show, expanding your comfort zones. For those of you that have been listening for a while, you may have remembered that for about 2 months, I did a live show called The Turning Point. And I published the very first show here on the Fit to Love podcast in season 1. And I called it The Turning Point, and it appeared on a Freedom Friday. Well, I've got 7 other Turning Point shows that all won't make the cut, but there was some really great information that I thought I wanted to share with you here and now. So today's show is going to be a blast from the past, so to speak, where I'm going to pull forward some of the information about expanding your comfort zone, especially when I started the show, because when you podcast, I have the gift of editing. And so if I say something that doesn't sound right, or I've ummed too much, or and so, and all the annoying things, I get to go back and edit it out. So it could seem seamless and therefore perfect. But on a live show, you don't get that kind of leeway. And needless to say, I found myself outside of my comfort zone. So today, Freedom Friday, we're going to be about expanding your comfort zone. And I will share my vulnerable story with you now. Welcome to The Turning Point. I'm your host, JJ Flazanes. The Turning Point is a show about those breakthrough moments, big and small, that change the direction of our lives. Whether it be a triumph, an aha, or a bridge from one chapter of our lives to the next, this show will be the place where we can share and celebrate those pivotal moments. Are you looking for a turning point? As you tune in, you may be inspired to call in, and together we can uncover what might be your next turning point. We will be talking about 2 really fun concepts today. First, I want to thank everyone who listened live last week. I really didn't announce the premiere of this show because, to be quite honest, I was really nervous. And that's one of the concepts we're going to talk about today. One of the breakthrough turning points is comfort zones. So today's show is going to start off with my latest breakthrough and triumph and turning point, which was actually doing this very show. So think about a time in your life where you had to step out of your comfort zone. What did that feel like? What came up for you before you did it? And how was it after you did it? Why did you do it? I have a really creative brain that once I get an idea, I have lots of different creativity that comes from that and ideas about how to do things. And I had this idea to do this show probably a month ago. It actually wasn't really that long ago that the idea came to me. And I'm an action taker. No grass grows under my feet. So if I have an idea, I usually just do it right then and there. And I really don't think twice about it if I feel very inspired. Now, last week I shared one of the breakthrough moments and turning points for me was in the introduction to the work of Law of Attraction by Abraham Hicks. And one of the major mantras, if you will, of the Law of Attraction is to get in the vortex, which means get in your alignment space. Get into your higher self. Get into that space that feels like pure love. So they say get in the vortex. And once you're there, then you follow the impulse, whatever the impulse is. So I had been in the vortex. I had been in my alignment. I'd been in the zone, so to speak. And the idea and the topic and the title for this show came up, and I was following the impulse. In fact, I have followed the impulse ever since. And it's a little bit new for me. I have a 6-day-a-week video and audio podcast show called Fit to Love, and it is all pre-recorded. So I get to edit. I edit out anything I don't like. I edit out ums and so's and you knows from both myself as well as my guests, and I can clean it up so it's best heard and understood without distraction for you. Well, on this show, it's live, and I don't get that opportunity. So last week, when I sat down to do the intro for this show, I sort of tapped into the creative part of me that inspired me to do it in the first place. And I started to scream. And I mentioned on Facebook, for anyone that lives nearby or might be walking, not to get nervous if you happen to walk by my house and hear me screaming. The screaming was actually me having nervous energy that I needed to let out. I had a feeling, I had a response to all my thoughts and to the situation, and I needed to let it out. But why I'm sharing this with you, besides the fact that I wanted you to hear that I too have moments of nervous energy and I get anxious and I feel insecure or vulnerable because I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I mentioned that to a few of my personal training clients, and one in particular said to me, well, I don't hear you say that very often. And I thought, you know what, that's really important to share. Because for those of you that do know me, I am pretty comfortable on the stage and I am very comfortable in front of the camera. And while I'm not perfect, who is really perfect, right? I can rely on my facial expressions. I can rely on my gestures and my funniness, so to speak. I just did a video about making pickled veggies with dietitian Jeannie Peters. It was the Tasty Tuesday of the week, and it's probably my goofiest video yet. We filmed this video, and by the end of the day, we were getting goofy. I was getting goofy, and I just had fun with it. I just played with it. And so I can rely on that on camera or on the stage. But see, here, you and I are just connected through voice and sound. When I take a pause, I can't rely on that we're actually connected because I can't see you and you can't see me. So for me, especially with the belief system that I had prior to doing my podcast show, which was that I'm not good over audio. I had done some audio recordings and live teleseminars with some experts in the past, and I didn't feel that I got the biggest impact on the business side from them. I did them and we had some results, but I always got really great results and interactions with people and comments and sales from people when I would be in front of them. And so I noticed that that connection for me was really strong. And I started to make up this whole story about why. And to me, it was because you couldn't see me. And sometimes my voice and my passion is really intense. And for some people, it might be too much. And when you see me, the warmth of my heart and my passion and my true desire to be of service marries with the passion. So it's, I think, more pleasing to others to experience that as a package versus to just listen to me. Not to mention that in the past, I was less seasoned of doing audio recordings and live teleseminar presentations. So I'd be really excited and I would use that nervous energy to talk faster. I'm from the East Coast. I lived in New York City. I'm a fast talker. I'm a fast everything. I talk fast. I think fast. I walk fast. I act fast. That's just how I'm built. So for me to slow down, take a pause, breathe, be here, be mindful. Like I teach people to do with exercise, be mindful of connecting with your body and being one with your body and understanding and visualizing what's going on. Well, now, guess what? I am called to do the same thing because I am putting myself on a platform that requires that. To best serve you, I need to slow down. I need to think before I speak, and I need to clearly articulate in a simple way for you what it is that I'm trying to convey. So this show, The Turning Point, came out of an impulse, and it still does. I used to hear business mentors talk about sort of stepping off the ledge and not knowing what was coming next, like a free fall. And I have experienced that at certain times, but never in front of an audience. If I take a free fall in the comfort of my own home or in my own mind, I haven't announced to anybody what I want to get out of it. I haven't put myself out there completely vulnerable so that people can see if it succeeds or if it fails. And I'm doing that here. So stepping out of your comfort zone, it's very liberating. It's very scary, but it's also really fun. And I really have no attachment to where this journey is going to take me or take you or take us. I just know that when I talk about it and when I share it with others, the feedback that I get and the inspiration that comes over me as well as others lets me know that I'm on the right track. And who knows how long it'll all last, but I'm going to take the journey, be in the moment, and see who's interested in taking the journey with me. I've been doing the Fit to Love podcast show for over 6 months, and it was recently that I got a really amazing testimonial about someone who had come over from another radio show, who had heard me being interviewed on a different radio show, and has been a fan of mine ever since. And I've gotten some feedback along the way from people, which is nice, but most of the people, I know them, or they're on my email list. So they get emails from me and they communicate with me. But this is someone new and out of the blue. And it confirmed that I'm on the right track. It confirmed that someone's listening. And it can be really scary when you put yourself out there to know, who's really listening, who's really getting something from this, because not everyone takes the time to share their thoughts and feelings about what it is that they're experiencing. So, talking about comfort zones, I also want to share another comfort zone turning point that I had. Was a first for me last week. I started a meditation group, and one of my attendees for my very first group happened to be one of my previous therapists. A previous therapist who is also, she does hypnosis, and she's fabulous. And I literally go to sleep several nights a week with her in my ears. So to think about having her come to my meditation group was completely it sent my nerves into shock and anxiety. I was nervous. In fact, during the meditation, I kept checking in to see, do I think that she's having a nice experience? Is there anything else that I can do? And so I watched myself have this conversation with myself during this meditation. And I started the class out very honest and saying that this was an attempt to honor my own practice. One of the things we're going to talk about on this show as we progress is how to get your needs met and identifying some of those negative emotions that come up for you and what a negative emotion does. A negative emotion is an indicator that a need is not being met. We'll get more on that later, even though I've talked about it a lot on the Fit to Love podcast show with multiple episodes and different experts who address this. It's a very simple concept, but so simple and so profound. It needs to be repeated over and over. It has to be practiced for people to actually understand the power in being able to identify feelings and needs and then getting the needs met. So one of the things that I needed was to have accountability with meditation. And I'd started a meetup group for spiritual thinkers and business leaders in a spiritual way. And out of that group, I'd asked who might be interested in meditation. And the minute I got people to say I was interested, I created a meditation class and I was off and running. Didn't spend any time marketing it. I just put it out there because I thought I want to commit to this and I want to see who wants to join me. So fast forward, I've done 2 classes where I'm the only one there. And the person behind the desk sort of gave me that, only, nobody came. And I said, that's okay, because I'm practicing and this was about me. I did this to serve me, to create accountability for me. And so I'm committed to creating the space for myself to step into and see how it goes. And again, I'm not attached to the outcome. If it doesn't work, I won't do it. And I'll try to find an already existing class that I can attend that I enjoy. So the first 2 sessions I did by myself in one room in this facility. And the room that I was in originally didn't work. And I knew that. And in fact, I was happy when nobody came because it was too big. It was not carpeted. It had too many noises in the background. It was across the hall from a recovery group, and they were loud. And so I knew that experience wasn't what I really wanted. So I moved after those 2 sessions into the front room, which is padded and carpeted, and it's lined, and it's in a different section of the building where there's less noise. And so on that very first class in the very new room, I have a group. I have my first group. And I'm nervous. And that happened the day before we launched the show. So last week, needless to say, I experienced many new stepping out of my comfort zone experiences. My former therapist's husband, who's also a therapist, was there, and he and I met for the first time, and he said to me, asked me what I did for a living. Oh, so do you teach meditation? And I said, no, I do not teach meditation. I created this space to honor and be accountable to my own practice, and I'm inviting others to join me, which means I'm open to feedback, to requests, in order to create a nice experience for the group. But because I'm not an expert in the field, because I haven't done it before, I was really nervous. Now, had they asked me to speak in front of 500 people about fitness and exercise and weight loss and the power of positive thinking, no problem. While I might be a little nervous of how I'm going to be received, I would have a good time, and I've done it before, and I'd be excited. But the nervousness I felt last week was different. Again, it was stepping out of my comfort zone in both ways. Here I have mentors and people I respect who now I am leading in a genre that I am not an expert in. And I'm being vulnerable about the reason why I'm doing it, and hoping that it'll be a pleasant and good experience for everybody who attended. And then last week with this show, opening up the space to have you come and share your turning points. I think that's what inspires me the most about doing this show and creating this space is, like I said last week, I believe we minimize and we do not spend the time or attention looking at the contrast that we go through in our lives and how it propels us forward. We don't stop and celebrate like I think is necessary, like I think would help make the whole experience even better. People suffer and feel like they've done something wrong when they go through contrast. And so I think our relationship to those struggles, quote unquote, cause us depression and to create stories in our head about how we've done something that's inaccurate or not good enough or that we've failed. And so I think that's why with this show, I don't have a goal. I don't have a plan because I'm just testing it out. I'm saying, hey, do you like the space? Does it inspire you? Do the guests that come on to share their experience help you in any way? Does having this space for you to come and call me and have a conversation live with me give you hope or desire to do that? Does that feel good for you? I am totally interested in your feedback because this is why I'm doing it. I'm sort of putting it out there. So comfort zones. It's been a long time since I actually have stepped that far outside of a comfort zone. And for most people, probably looking at me, they'd think, well, why is that a big deal? Like for some people, standing up in front of a group is terrifying. I mean, I was a musical theater major. I've been singing and dancing since I was 3 in front of groups. That isn't scary. It's fun. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. I'm not as concerned about the judgment. I'm not concerned about the disconnection. But this medium, it feels so disconnected because I can't see you and you can't see me. So step outside your comfort zone. It's thrilling. It's great feedback. And you get to really honor where you're growing. And then you get to see if it works, if it doesn't work. So if I had to give you any recommendations about stepping outside of your comfort zone, don't be attached to the outcome, because then it's not a big deal if it doesn't work or if you learn something from it, which to me, you learn from everything. Everything is a learning opportunity. Everything is a reflection of where you are right now, the energy that you're putting out, the attraction that you're bringing in. So today, I want you to think of comfort zones, and I want you to think about how you can step outside of it in a way that's exciting to you And then along the way, if you decide to get nervous or if nervousness energy comes up, I will tell you what was so fun about last week is that I screamed. And I know I mentioned that already. And I'm not going to scream because I'd like to, but I don't want to pierce your ears. I did this high-pitched, sort of nervous, anxious scream, but fun. Not like shrilling, someone's, chasing me and I'm running for my life kind of scream. A scream that's like, here, I'll just do it. I'll back up from the mic. Well, okay. I tried to control the volume. It was much louder than that, but it was really fun. Scream therapy. I'm starting to think that's a really fun thing to tell people to do. I couldn't run around. I couldn't go exercise because I had to be here and centered and calm and collect my space in order to deliver my voice and my thoughts in a clear and concise way. But man, screaming was really, really fun. So comfort zones. That's the one thing I want you to take away from this show today. So that concludes our show for today, a little bit about comfort zones, and I want to thank you for tuning in to The Turning Point. If this show inspired you, I would love for you to share it and invite anyone you know to call in who has a story that we can all celebrate and learn from. And I'd love for you to email me ahead of time to let me know, info@invisiblefitness.com. Last week, I ended the show with a quote. I'm going to continue to end the show with the same quote because I feel it is completely and totally appropriate for the theme that we're talking about. This quote is from a poem. It's a section. I've pieced it together. It's from Marianne Williamson in A Return to Love. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I look forward to connecting with you all again next week. Are you consciously using the law of attraction in your everyday life? How would you like some accountability and structure provided for you so you can easily start attracting more good into your life? Join us for the next 30-day manifestation challenge. Go to fit2love.tv/30daym. That's FIT, the number 2, LOVE.tv/30DAYM. 30-day M. Well, you'll be provided completely for free a 30-day packet including audios, instructions, and accountability in the form of a private Facebook group where we share our manifestations with each other every day and we keep each other accountable for doing the work. Join us for the next 30-day manifestation challenge. Come on over to fit2love.tv/30daym. Thank you again for tuning in to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. If you're inspired and want more, come on over to fit2love.tv and check out our Freedom Fridays or find us on iTunes. More at Fit to Love, physical, emotional, and spiritual fitness for the happy life you deserve.